Hey everyone, Matt Senpai here. Today I'm going to be talking about the DeFi section of Nacho Finance. It's going to be part one of a two-part series of my deep dive into the Nacho Finance ecosystem. Before getting started, as always, this video is purely for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a Nacho connoisseur trying to teach the inner workings of one of the greatest ecosystems on Polygon, Nacho Finance. Now, when talking DeFi ecosystems, there are a few main parts. You have your DEX, which is what NSwap is, or decentralized exchange. You have farming, you have compounding, and then you have liquidity providing. There are a couple key things to understand about Nacho Finance and the ecosystem before getting into all that. That is how Nacho works, what it's always trying to do, and how it achieves that. I talked in my last video about how Nacho is designed to be pegged 1,000 Nacho to 1 Ethereum. What does this mean? Well, basically, if Ethereum was worth $2,000, Nacho would be worth $2. How does this work? Well, if you look over at the liquidity pool for Nacho and wrapped Ethereum, the way providing liquidity works is you provide equal amounts of two different tokens, and in return for providing liquidity, you're given an LP token. So, with Nacho wrapped Ethereum, one LP token is worth 96.69. And in this LP token right now, you have 35.48 Nacho with 0.03 wrapped Ethereum. Well, if we were at peg, this would look a lot more like, just as an example, maybe 35 Nacho and 0.035 Ethereum. Because when you math that up and you bring that up to the bigger numbers, that would be 1 Ethereum to 1,000 Nacho. That is peg. And that is achieved if I'm a new buyer, I'm someone coming in and I have, let's just say 1 Ethereum. I trade that 1 Ethereum for X amount of Nachos, whatever that price would work out to. I'm now giving my Ethereum to the LP, and I'm taking Nacho. This then closes that gap and pushes this number up here closer to peg. Peg's 1.0. Right now we're at 0.8. Now, once a peg is achieved, what does that mean? What happens when we go over peg? Now, let's say we're at 1.0. Someone comes in with some Ethereum, and they buy more Nacho. Well, now we'll be at 1.01. And the ecosystem wants to be at peg, not above peg, at peg. So when this happens, we have what is called the bull. And basically, people who are staking their end shares are then rewarded the newly minted tokens. Because when we're above peg, that means there's not enough tokens. So the protocol, or the ecosystem, sorry, has to mint new tokens to try to bring us back down to peg. However many tokens that may be. So the new Nacho comes into the ecosystem and gets given to end share stakers. Okay, that is the basis of what the ecosystem's constantly trying to do. We're trying to get up to peg. Once we hit peg and are above peg, it's trying to move back down to peg. All right, and when we're below peg, one of the other tokens added in here to help try to get back up to it is N-Bond. Well, what does N-Bond do? Well, if you have your Nachos, maybe you earned your Nachos from the end share reward pool in the bull, and you're given maybe 100 Nacho, all right? If you were to just sell your Nacho, take the profits out, you're going to push peg down, and that's how you de-peg, all right? But if you were to go to the oven and you were to burn your 100 Nachos, turn them into N-Bond, well, you're now having positive pressure again on peg. You're pushing it back up. A lot of these self ecosystems stop there. Once it goes above peg, you can trade your N-Bond in for a little bit more Nacho than you gave them. Maybe you gave 100 Nacho, maybe you get 100.1 or 101. Right? You get a little bit more. It's mathematically figured out on its own, but that's the way these usually stop. Now, with Nacho Finance, that's where the GameFi comes in. You can then take your N-Bond, which you burnt, which helped push back up to peg, and you can feed them to your Luchador. Anything you feed to your Luchador, the team's working on having a front-end system set up where it'll display and show all the value of the Fed and bond and all the time spent training him, making him stronger, and that'll show an increase in value of your NFT. So it might seem like you're just burning and getting rid of it, but it actually increases the value. So we know how Nacho works. We know the goal of the ecosystem. Now we can start to look at how farming and compounding play their own roles into the ecosystem and how they work. Normally, without farming, when you provide liquidity, the way you're rewarded is anytime a swap is made, anytime a trade is made on a DEX, there is a fee that is taken, and you earn a portion of those fees. Now, when you stake your LP tokens in a farm, at least the way it works with Nacho Finance, is instead of getting the fees, those fees go to the protocol, and then you are instead rewarded with end shares that are newly introduced into the ecosystem. So rather than earning whatever little fees you would get from the swaps, you are earning a steady amount, depending on which pool you're staked in, of end share. For the Nacho Weth pool, you earn 0.05% daily. The end share Matic pool, you earn 0.33% daily. And that is your incentive to add liquidity to the protocol. Now, it's important to have deep liquidity because the higher the liquidity for Nacho wrapped Ethereum is, the harder it is to move further away from peg. If you only have, say, just as an example, 1,000 nachos in liquidity and someone sells 100 nachos, well, that's going to move peg really easily. Whereas if your liquidity has, say, I don't know, 1 million nachos, well, someone selling 100 nachos isn't going to make that big of a difference. So the more incentive you have to add to the liquidity, to stake that liquidity, you're earning end share and you're helping the protocol sustain its goal better. Now, when peg was lost and we were back down to 0.3 peg, 0.2 peg, they introduced single side staking. So you can buy nachos, don't have to put them in LP, you could stake them and earn end share. Where this really helps the protocol, and it also helps it with the LPs too, is the self-compounder, the auto-compounder they have. Now, if you buy, say, 100 nachos, you stake them in the single-side staking pool, every day you'll be earning end share rewards. The auto-compounder will automatically sell those end share and buy nachos. This will constantly keep a positive pressure on peg, keep it moving up without you even really having to do anything. Now, when you look at the Nacho Wrapped Ethereum pool, say you earn $1 of end share, the auto-compounder will automatically sell it, take 50 cents of that, buy Nacho, take 50 cents, the other 50 cents, buy Wrapped Ethereum, pair them together in LP, and restake it. And then you'll be earning off of those rewards, and it'll just keep compounding. Now, it's important to know how these different things affect the ecosystem, because even though you can choose whatever you want in the farm, whatever you want in the compounder, trying to diversify a little bit, add into the different things will help the protocol in different ways. Like the end share Matic pool, deeper that liquidity is, the more potential is, the more Matic there is in the pool. You know, higher price can go, the also smoother the fluctuations will be. You won't, if someone sells 100 end shares, you won't notice as much if we have a deeper liquidity. It doesn't make as big of an impact. You know why to provide liquidity, you know its benefits, and you know the rewards for doing so. But how do you do it? Well, luckily Nacho Finance makes that pretty easy for us. When you go to the swap, you have the liquidity page where you can add liquidity. Now, if you come in with, let's say you have your Matic, you add your Matic, you want to go into the Ethereum Nacho pool, so you would buy X amount of Ethereum, and then dollar value, you'd buy the same amount of nachos. Then you click liquidity, and you add it. As you can tell right now, 1 Ethereum is worth just over 1,200 nachos. That's because we are below peg. You would add your liquidity. In return, you'll receive your LP tokens, and then you stake them in the farm, or do with it as you choose. And luckily, like Nacho Finance has it all set in stone for us. It's nice and easy, all on their website. You don't have to go back and forth to a different DEX, add liquidity, come to the website, stake it in the farm. It's all here. Now, that's a big bonus for a product like this. Not many projects actually have all of this built in, and not all of them have had it planned and built in since pretty much the beginning. They've had the decks as long as I've been a part of the community. Before wrapping up this video, a few things I need mention. If you're ever unsure about anything, there's a fantastic community website put together by Matt. It goes over a lot of different things, helps explain it. You have guides on how to mint a luchador, how to use a secondary market, naming your luchador, how to buy Nacho, goes through the factions. Top of that, you can check the Nacho charts out. You can see Shill Shady's gifts, some of which were used in the making of this video. And in addition to that, why not put together a spreadsheet which has an auto compounder calculator to help you calculate your profits. You can keep track of your feeding, your training, and he's not done with it yet. If you don't know Matt or you don't know why not, I suggest you jump in the Nacho Finance Discord, link in the description below. I plan on doing a full video guide on using the spreadsheet once I have it all figured out myself. There's a lot of different moving parts here to figure out. In part 2 of the series, I'll be going over the GameFi section of Nacho Finance, how it goes together with the DeFi section of it, how the luchadors work, how the training works, everything there is to know about it. Until then, Matt Senpai out.